Peace and love. Peace and love. This is the Bubbly Love Show. Peace and love, family. How's everyone feeling today? I am feeling so blessed, so amazing. I am just grateful to be alive, grateful for new experiences, and grateful that I have a very special guest in the building, in the nature.
Blessings.
Welcome to Intuitive Papa G. You heard? We outside. I mean, we put it in a way where the sun is like not exactly. I think that's good. All right, cool. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But then it's like the sun is like shining on you, so that's a vibe.
Yeah, that part, right? Let the light go shine on the light.
Yes. Okay, so we are here today, and the topic of the Bubbly Love Show for today is metamorphosis, childhood trauma, and forgiveness. And the inspiration behind this is I was really very much led to it. But I feel like this is really just a time where in my own experience in life that I've just been doing a lot of growth and a lot of releasing old things. And when I think about releasing, it is a lot of things that were conditioned into my experience growing up. In addition, something that has been very symbolic as far as metamorphosis is that like I've been feeling an old version of myself truly dying and becoming this new version of self, and it can be scary at times, but then it's like I was just telling someone yesterday, I'm like, I love scary things. I'm like if it's scary, I want to do it. Like
yes.
It's like it's the thrill of life, it's the experience of life. Give thanks for listening to the album. I appreciate that. That's love. And even so just in my own experience and expression and old selves dying, stepping into the new. When I think about the metamorphosis, there's this really old book called The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And you know about it?
I know about it. I didn't read it.
Okay, I didn't read the whole thing.
It.
I was supposed to read it in high school, but you know how it is in high school when they tell you to read a book. But then later on in your life, you're like, oh, that's why they told me.
That part. And I was like, oh.
Mind y'all, I actually ordered the book and it's in my library, and I still haven't really opened it as much as
I think I got maybe about 10 of those.
Yeah, I definitely have it, but I will get to it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you listening. Thank you, y'all. All right, so when it comes to the metamorphosis, I just know the spiel of the book. And the spiel of the book is that the protagonist wakes up as a huge cockroach. Like a huge cockroach, and his parents don't recognize him. And it's like his parents know that it's him, but the parents don't recognize this new version of him, and now he has to learn how to go about into the world as this new, different person.
Wow.
This new like physical expression and the way he moves and does things. But it's like the parents are having challenges accepting him, but again, it's like they know that that's their son, so they still love him and everything. So it's very symbolic.
Yeah,
like
because as soon as you started saying they recognized him but didn't recognize him, they understood it was him but didn't know him. I received that. Yes, I received that.
So it's very powerful. So that's the book, that's the word that came to me. And then when I also think about metamorphosis, I also think about butterflies and the transformation that butterflies go through when they are a caterpillar and then become the butterfly, and how it's like they first have operated in literally moving on the ground and learning how to go about life in that one form, and now they go through this transformation where now they're flying, and now they have to like learn other things and new things in that growth. But then it's like it's the same inside but a different outside, and how to now operate in that new space and that change. So
that's beautiful. It's like even in the process of the metamorphosis, you're giving into faith, or the caterpillar is giving into faith and trust, like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. Like I feel to do. I'm sure they don't have the knowledge like, oh, I'm going to turn into a butterfly, but they feel this natural pull to do what they need to do to metamorphosize. and they become this new creature that's something unrecognizable to some.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
and something that I would call like the cutest bug on earth. I was saying the other day, like, butterflies are so cute, but then it's like if you look up at a butterfly up close, you really realize like it's so beautiful from afar, but it really is a little bug.
They say, right, it's a little creepy
really
as you get a little closer.
Yeah, you're like, oh wait, this is a bug.
Even the monarch butterflies, that look like huge moths. Yeah.
And moths are so symbolic within themselves.
True.
Like moths used to sleep with me when I was in Mexico, and at the beginning I used to try to get them off my bed, but then after I read like more about their symbolism, I was like, you can sleep on my bed.
It's
and
like the spider.
Yeah, like spiders would come to me so much in Africa. Like literally I had this like spirit spider that was with me every night, and then after a while I started to look for him when I didn't see him. That is different. That one over there, just beautiful, but wow. Okay,
when we first sat down, they said, okay, I said, okay, Oshun, these are your beings.
There's a lot of. It's funny because last week I did it in nature, and there was just a lot of bugs around me that day, and I just had to really like
give into
hone
faith.
in. Yeah, like because it was hopping bugs, and they wasn't even necessarily spiders. Because if y'all know, spiders hop. But
like these new. Listen.
Now these new bugs
these new
different.
bugs.
Like they was trying to eat my patelillo, and I was like, son, not for you. I could bring you something else, but not my patelillo.
Look, they're trying to traumatize us. Let me bring it. Look, they're trying to traumatize us.
Okay, so before anything, I always like to start off with collective breaths. So we're gonna do 3 collective breaths, and then we're gonna get into the topic. Okay.
Sure.
So you can put your hands at center or wherever you see comfortable for you. And then you can close your eyes if you'd like or not. And then we're just gonna take our first inhale that we're gonna hold. Okay? Alrighty. Take a first deep inhale and bring it down to your toes. We're going to do a slow release through the mouth. Take another deep inhale, bring it down to the toes. We're going to hold a little longer this time. And hold. Deep inhale, bring it down to the toes. And hold. Yourself a hug. I love me.
I love me.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am brave.
I am brave.
I am bold.
I am bold.
I am divine.
I am divine.
I have everything I need.
I have everything I need.
And I am balanced.
I am balanced.
I am free.
I am free.
I am expression.
I am expression. expression.
And I love me.
I love me. Whew. Ashe. Oh. Breath is so important.
Yes.
Breath is so important.
Yeah.
Like, I used to be so against breath work, consciously. I was like, I knew the power of it, but I didn't know because I never allowed myself to experience it.
Yeah.
So when I was invited to do guided meditation, my partner was doing the breath work.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, guess I gotta take part. If I'm gonna be co-teaching, I'll take part. And then once I experienced it, it was so transformative.
Yeah.
So transformative.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And you know, something that I'm very big on with breath as well is that I realize that breath is a way that we can truly give thanks and gratitude. It's so like so easy to just get lost in like the moment, and especially living in a fast place like New York, fast-paced place. And then it's like just to take intentional time to go and breathe and to give thanks for the divine, give thanks for your breath, give thanks for your life. There's no better way to give thanks for your life than to consciously breathe, to intentionally breathe.
Ashe.
You know, so I always like to start off with the breath work because it's gratitude. It's giving gratitude. So before I channel anything, before I share anything that I'm being that I'm receiving, in order for me to receive, I have to give gratitude and give thanks. You know, that's the balance.
I was gonna say it's the give and take, it's the balance, it's the exchange.
Yeah. You know, and I feel like breath work as well is just a really great way for us to tap into us and how we are feeling.
Yes.
A lot of times, like in the past, like I've worked with children, mostly with the children, and I've done the breath work. Like I've seen them have emotions come out after doing deep breathing, and I've had my own experiences as well, where like crying because I'm deep breathing because I haven't been doing my breath work the way I'm supposed to, and it's all of these blockages and stuff. And I remember the little girl is like, why am I crying? And I'm like, it's okay, it's natural, you know, it's
breathe through it,
breathe more. And it's like, it's so, like you said, transformative when you can just do the breath work, and something as simple that we don't even need to get taught as breathing can be healing for us.
Whew. I wholeheartedly agree and receive that. I remember this one time I was reminding this brother to be reminded of his breath. He's like, oh, why do I need to be reminded? I'm breathing right now. And I was just like, the understanding of the intention of breath is what I'm telling you to be reminded of. And you put it in such a balanced form in the words you just shared, that it's not about remembering to breathe, it's about remembering what breath does.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Truly, truly powerful. Even, and again, like what I was just sharing with you, you know, I allowed my ego to say, oh, I don't need this. But when I allowed myself to receive it because it was a form of love that somebody was giving to me, I was able to experience before, or I was able to kill a little bit of my ego.
Yeah.
And therefore, I was able to experience.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. So I feel like Metamorphosis is very much connected to ego dying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about it. Like, let's get into that. So it's like there's so much ego that just gets really projected onto us, and then also I feel like it is a part of the human experience as well, for us to like have ego, and like even like I'll speak more about that next week, and the whole like the id and the ego and the psychology of all of that. But it's definitely something that shouldn't be looked at as a negative. It's not something bad to have. It is a tool to use, but it's always about, everything comes back down to balance, right? And what are we using it for? And it's like, are we allowing our egos to stop us or to progress us? And I feel like that's the difference. If it progresses you in a way, and be like, yo, I want to be like the best at what I do. Not the best at what I do to compare myself to others, but just the best at what I do for self and for service to others. For me to really do the service that I'm meant to do for others at the highest capacity. And that always is going to change. That always is going to transform. But I want to do it for me first, because it feels good when you can help somebody, or when they start to ask you deeper questions. Because some people, like, everybody's going to be different, but some people really want to know why.
Yeah,
and they want to ask you more questions.
yeah.
And you, like, you know how good it feels when somebody asks you more, and you like, well, let me tell you more,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then as opposed to being like, let me go do some more research.
Like, oh, I don't know.
I'm not really sure, you know?
Okay.
And then I could, like, question, like, even, like, your credibility and things, right? It's like, we want to be credible. We want to be felt and known for, like, the things that we are supposed to partake in this lifetime, especially, like, to service as others. So it's like, I feel like to consistently study, to consistently allow ourselves to have experiences. That's why even I'm doing, like, this Bubbly Love show, because it's a consistent way. Yes, please come through. It's a consistent way for me to use my voice and use my power of intuition.
Yes.
And it's something to be like a muscle. It's something to always be trained and to always be,
and to be used.
Yeah.
Not for you to be used by it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because there was definitely a point in time where I was really just having all of these ideas. And even, like, I've been consistently sharing messages that I just get through spirit, and I'll share it now. And I'm like, Bubbly Love Message of the Day. And I'm really proud of myself with that too, because there was a time, and I'll be honest, it was more when I was smoking, that I would get all up in my head about it. Like, I would have all of these messages, and then I would be airy about it. I'm like, I don't know if they're going to understand what I got to say. I don't know if this is important. Who cares what I got to say? And then I would just end up not posting it. And it's like, that message, like, what I've been noticing more and more is that message is like, it's more than just for me.
Yeah.
It's for a collective. It's for somebody that needed that. So for me to hold myself back from what I'm supposed to do is me doing a disservice to the world, to myself and to the world.
You took the words right
because
out of my
there's
mouth.
literally
Yes.
people that was waiting to be received. They needed that day. You know how good it feels when somebody tells you, like, oh my gosh, what you said today really resonated. I needed to hear that message. And I'm like, I needed to hear that message too.
I tell
Like,
people
that's
all
why
the
I
time,
said it. Like,
all the time. I'm not getting it. In the moment, there's no point in me sharing it. It's like, if I'm not learning, like, even in class on Intuitive Tuesdays, like, when I teach, I let them know, like, listen, if I'm not learning while you're learning, there's no point in us having this exchange.
Right.
Like, I'm learning just as much as you. Like, I may be guiding you in this lesson, but trust me, there's lessons for everybody to learn on different levels within that same lesson.
Yeah.
You know? And there's something profound you said, I want to repeat, is that you wanted to do it for you first.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like most important, and where trauma can take us away from us and wanting to be us first.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a piece of trauma that some of us may deal with that takes away from the I am.
Yeah.
Because we think society, we think family, we think perception.
Yes.
And not our own.
Yes.
Like, how am I going to be perceived by the outside world versus how do I see myself and how do I feel that I want to be conveyed, or how I feel to truly convey myself.
Yeah.
There's a needed healing that has to consistently happen with that, and that comes with demolishing ego and it doesn't have to be a battle, but being in tune with your truth. I was going to say battling your truth, but being in tune with your truth.
Yeah, working together, coexisting. Something that just came to me is, well, that's going to come back to me. It's going to come back to me. It's going to come back to me. Okay, I'm just going to let it.
Well, I'll say this. What I told you earlier, your message from yesterday, I was just like, yeah, I needed that one.
Yeah.
I needed that one. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
You really don't.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, that's why it's so important for us to just be who we are. And even there was a message that I shared the other day as well that really came for me, because I started thinking about an older version of me and how I may have been perceived at that older version.
Like past?
Yeah. And then I had to remind myself, like, that's how you were supposed to be then.
At that time.
And you are where you're supposed to be now. So don't even apologize for that old version of you. Don't apologize for it, because that's what you were supposed to go through. That's what you were supposed to be in that moment. And guess what? We can always be of service to people no matter where we are in our journeys. Whether we at the beginning, because it's like, if you really think about it, we always at the beginning of something. We always start in something, right? So even that can be like an ego thing too, where it's like, yeah, well, I've been on this journey for 10 years and you just started your journey, so you should listen to me because I am the, and I'm like, bro, actually,
right.
One of the things that you said that really resonated is that you said an exchange. When you're teaching, like you said, an exchange. And that's really what teaching is. It's not like I am the all, know all, be all. It is like really great teachers are the ones who are like, we are learning it together. You know, we are connecting on it together. Oh, that's what it said, G, we can't wait to see you. You both exude such confidence and light is beautiful.
Oh, that's Mama G.
I was gonna say, I was like,
Mama,
I was like, I know this.
The screen name. No, she's always supportive. She's always the first to show up.
So it's so beautiful to just be on this journey. So I would like to just go down some instances. So let's start off with Metamorphosis, since we've been talking about that. Okay. Well, actually, I feel like it's all interconnectedness. Okay, matter of fact, I want to go into forgiveness, and I want to talk about why I connected all of them together.
Okay.
Facts.
Reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
So I actually want to connect that. So the reason why I spoke about metamorphosis is because I realized when you're healing through your childhood trauma, you got to forgive yourself, and that's how you grow and transform yourself. That's the connection between all three. It's like childhood trauma. I see you. I love you, I respect you, but I'm going to move from a healed space and forgive you so that I can transform.
Yeah, so I can metamorphosize.
Like legit, what is meant for me. And I feel like it's consistent throughout our lives. Like there's never like the ending until there's the ending, and even that's a new beginning. You know, it's like this beautiful infinite loop of growth and expansion and of ascension, and it's truly beautiful. And I feel like there's been so much that, like what we were just talking about, doing something for yourself, there was so much trauma that I had around doing things for others. And matter of fact, that's what I was gonna say. With a lot of the stuff you were saying, I wanted to talk about expectations, because that was one of the conversations I had on here. I literally did this whole expectation exercise. I ended up having like a whole page full of expectations that wasn't even mine to begin with. All societal, relational, because like this societal, relational, like all of these different ways that I was expected to show up, and I realized that wasn't me. That wasn't expectations from myself. That was all outer expectations. And I started living in that, and I had to be honest with myself. Like I did it online, and I was like, dang, I had a real expectation of being perfect. Like a real expectation of like, nah, I gotta be perfect, like I can't mess up. And then being hard on myself if I mess up, because it's like, why are you being so hard on yourself? Because I'm supposed to be perfect.
What part of your life was this in?
I feel like, to be quite honest, like growing up, a lot of times, so when I was in school, I used to be a real scholar. Like academically, I was always on the honor roll and stuff like that. And then it's like I could get 100%, but then I really had a growing up where it was like, okay, that's nice, but like, why didn't you do it this way, or why didn't you do it that way? So I always even wanted to do even more. So like I remember there was a time in my life where I didn't just want 100%, I wanted 110%. And it was like, if I didn't want
the 4.0, I wanted the 4.1.
Like legit. It was like really a thing that in one way it pushed me to do like better, but then at the same time it hurt me in ways when I like even got something like a 95 or a 90%, and I would be like, I got a 90%, I got a 95, and all my friends is like, Deja, but that's a 90. I'm like, I'm supposed to get 110.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so even going hard on myself, because that's what was projected on me, because it was always like, I could show up as my best self at that moment, but it was still, but why didn't you do it this way? Or why, like, it was like this energy of not being good enough. Yeah. So I always tried to do more for it to feel like it was good enough to the others. And I realized that was a projected energy that I was getting from, like, my guardian, truly.
Yeah.
And it was like I had to really come to a point where I had to be comfortable with myself and how I show up and be okay, because there was also what that led to, me not wanting to try at all. And now to even do less than what I know I could, like, it was a point I got into middle school, I was like, at least if I get a 75, I'll be good. And I used to be 110%, now it's like, I get a 65, actually 65 was passing. I get a 65, I'll be alright.
Yeah, I passed.
Yeah. You know, so it's just like, now I don't even want to try no more, because it seems like every time I try, like honestly, I felt like that a lot when I started college. And I remember crying to my dad. He's like, where I cry for? But that's another story. But I talk about childhood. Like, I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to cry to you, and you don't want to hear me crying. But I remember crying because I was, like, so frustrated, because I felt like in college when I first started, I really was on this space of, like, all right, I'm going to do my best, and I just want to work really hard. And I was working part-time, and I had taken 5 classes, which I thought was a little bit, but technically that's a full-time student. And I was trying to do part-time work, and it was my first time studying in college and being a new college student. And I felt like every time I kept trying at a subject, I wouldn't do as good as I thought I did, and it would just be frustrating to me, because I'm like, am I just not smart enough? Like, what is going on? And it was just frustrating, and I dropped a lot of classes, and like you know, a lot happened in that process and experience. But again, I just had to, like, really learn throughout my journey that if I'm doing my best at that given moment, and I could truly be honest with myself that I did my best, then that is okay. Yeah, that is good. But then also be honest with myself when I'm like, you know what, I didn't try my best, I didn't do my best,
and that's why I received this,
and that's why I got this. Like, really, because all of those squirrelies.
I know, I love squirrels.
Me too. I always feed them nuts and fruits.
I give the multigrain bread ends to them, and then I throw out the bread for the birds.
Oh, I love that. Like, so the other day I had some melons, so I be testing out what birds and
like what.
Yeah, and then also even with the squirrels, I found out that squirrels for the most part like nuts. However, some of them will eat fruit, but they're basically like humans. Like, some of them eat fruit, and some of them is like, I don't want that. I want some nuts. Like, what are you giving me? And the other day I had some cantaloupe, and I was like, I'm gonna feed the birds. I was like, let me take a little piece first. Someone told me, like, just take a little piece first, see if they like it. When I tell you, I threw a few of my melons, and they was like, they was like,
what is
like
that?
They walked away from it. They was like, I do not want no cantaloupe, sis. And then I started thinking about it though. I was like, well, you know what? I feel like birds will probably like fruit that come from trees. Because if you think about their environment, right? Like, their cantaloupe is on the ground. Yeah. They're not really going to likely go, like, you know, like a berry, or even like a banana just came to me, because they come from trees. So something that a bird would be able to have access to when you think about their environment. But there's like cantaloupe, it's a ground fruit.
Well,
I don't mess with no ground fruit.
Get us to a squirrel.
Like, yeah. What?
Get us to a squirrel.
Yeah, so it's really beautiful to be able to be in nature in that way.
Truly.
So,
and it's like confirmations to the words that we're, you know, sharing. That's how I always look at it. Like, when nature starts coming closer, it's because of look at these beautiful things.
Yeah.
Our birds that we got feathers from.
Hey,
the white one and the black
friends.
one. Hey, friends. But I always look at nature as just a divine reflection of the moment you're in, especially when you're out in nature. Like, when we meditated before we hopped on, the wind started blowing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, thank you. You know, just like nice little confirmation.
It's so divine. And like, okay, so growing up, one of my favorite princess movies was Snow White. And there's a part in Snow White where she's like all crying and stuff, and all of the animals and everything come up to her. Yeah. So when these moments when I'm in nature and they start coming, I'm like a princess, and they just coming and talking to me and stuff. Like,
just call me Snow White.
You know, because like I'm like, they're really vibrating with me right now, and that happens a lot when I'm like in nature by myself. And even like as we're in this moment together, it's like, yeah, they vibing with us. They like,
she sees a kid, guys. Y'all know she is the bubbly Miss Bub, the teacher.
You don't know why.
She sees her young girl.
They're so cute.
Yeah, they really are.
So So yeah, you know, it's so beautiful. And yeah, that whole vibe, like, what just came to me is like, we're talking about metamorphosis and we're talking about the butterfly, but now I'm thinking about the bird. Even the bird goes from being in an egg, and then it goes from being like a little chickadee that can't fly yet, then it learns how to fly, and then now it flies.
Yeah.
So it's like the different stages of growth, you know. It's all interconnected. It's so beautiful.
That also brings me back to, in connection to what you were just sharing about your childhood. I was kind of similar, but also kind of like on the other end of the spectrum, from what you were sharing in expectation. Because with me, right, I was telling this story either yesterday or the other day in class. I was given, like, my mom, like, because I used to act, I used to compete in one-act plays, I was in musicals, like, I was like really good, like, that was going to be my life. Like, my first major in college was drama, like, I was going to make this a career of mine. I remember her asking me one day when I was in high school, do you want to get singing lessons? And me, in my mind, that meant I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to be as naturally great as possible. But it was more so coming from my ego telling me, it's like, no, you want to be greater than what any lesson can give you. And in hindsight, I'm like, no, she was trying to further your career.
Yeah.
She was trying to make sure that you were the best version that you could be for yourself.
Yes.
And in hindsight, you know, of course, I realized that, but I was like close to 30, you know, when I realized that. But all in divine timing, because I understood the type of support I was always receiving. Yeah. Even though, like, expectations, right? I set expectations to receive a certain type of applause, to receive a certain type of attention and audience members. Like, my family should be flying from New York to come see me in this musicals. A lot of it didn't happen, but that was my own expectation that I was placing onto me. And therefore, if it didn't happen, is this not good enough? Or are you going to allow yourself to truly experience your childhood? This is me in hindsight. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like, did you truly allow yourself to experience, or were you always in expectation?
Yeah.
And honestly, there are some moments where I lived in expectation because of society, because of parents, because of siblings, because of other family members, because of friends. And it's no fault of theirs.
Yeah.
They were living their lives. They were being the main character in their past, as I was mine, but you don't always feel like the main character.
That's a fact.
You don't always feel like the main character. So those insecurities and less thanisms, if you will, they were projecting me into my own side character. Yeah. It's like, are you going to be a side quest or going to be a main quest? Yeah. You know, like when you're on the video games, like, listen, you're going to play the sides, or you're going to actually finish the game and beat the main quest. Like, they're both important. Yeah. They are both important, but what's your choice, and where are you allowing yourself to see your expectations or perceptions of you? Yeah. You know?
It's so funny that you say that, because yesterday I was just teaching in the girls leadership program, and I was literally being like the director, because we were casting them for auditions for like a play that they're going to be. They're about to do like a play based off of a book. And it was like a page of all of the characters, and two of the characters were side characters. Okay. So it's like, talking about this right now. And then I was just like, all right, so everyone who didn't get casted as a main character, y'all are the side characters. Like,
listen,
y'all are the
still
extras.
In here, right? Y'all still in here.
We still need you. We need the extras. We can't have a movie without the extras. You know what I'm saying? But so it's like, we still need that.
Right. But it's how you feel about the need in yourself in that moment. It's like, do I feel complete with being an extra? Yeah. Am I going to let myself be seen as less than as an extra? No, you're in the movie. Yeah. You got your side card, right? Literally. you got them 30 seconds on that screen, right?
Right. And that projects you even like, or puts you in a position for you to have more experiences. Like when you think about acting, it's like, I be an extra a few times in the movie, talk to the right people, you
the main part. That part. That part.
So going back into the whole metamorphosis and like having stages of things, and I love that saying of just being okay with like being at your beginning stages in something new. Yeah. And I feel like that's a lot of ego dying to happen as well, because it's like, especially when you've been really truly practicing a specific craft or something, a journey for so long, and you're like amazing at that thing, then it's like this other thing that now you're gonna come into and be the new person in, and you're like, let me just keep going over here. But it's like, nah,
like you were introduced to this for a reason. Like the energy brought this to you.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a garden. Like you start like, all right, I want to learn how to plant things, right? And you start with one little seed.
Yeah.
And then the excitement you get from that growth, like when you see like, oh, it's growing. And then you have a whole plant or a whole flower, but then you start adding to your garden.
Yes.
Because you're getting more experience and you're getting more comfortable and you're allowing these things to cultivate, right?
Yes.
And then that even goes into fertility, the birth of things, the new beginnings.
Yes.
It's like, how excited are we, or how excited are you guys, like when you start seeing that plant grow?
Yes.
You know, like I know I get like, oh, it's a little.
Yes, same.
Like it could be a centimeter growth over that soil, and I'm like, I see you.
I did that.
Yep.
You know, and to be able to see, like, just cultivate, like, harvest your fruits. You know, seed to stem to leaves to fruit, and then be able to bear the fruit, right? And then to do it all over again.
Pray for what you want, and pray for the discernment and what is it? Discernment and responsibility, or it's a word where, or the be able to pray for the discernment to keep what you're praying for.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, I love that. And it's like trust, like that trust and that faith that's been coming up a lot too, like faith that you will receive, and faith that you just have to be consistent. Even like when it comes to like this show, another practice with this show is me being consistent. No matter who shows up, it's about me showing up first.
Come on.
It's about me showing up first.
And showing up for you.
Like, literally, because I'm going to be honest with you. Yesterday, wasn't feeling the best. And guess what, y'all? Like, I ain't going to lie. Like, there's a few people on YouTube that I could go to for, like, some words and stuff like that or whatever. But something called me to watch one of my videos. Actually, the video I did last week. Something told me, Deja, go back to your video and watch yourself. You know that put me to sleep. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna try to watch some anime and kind of get my mind off of it. And it was like, stop trying to go into this mystery, like this other realm world, so you're not thinking about it, right? But it was like, no, actually watch yourself. And literally the words that I was just saying on this live last week helped me last night when I was feeling emotional about things or just thinking about things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, look at me doing that for me.
No, seriously.
You know?
Because we don't know until we know that we're doing this for us.
Yes.
I had a moment like that maybe a week or two ago.
Yes.
Because I was just like, what is going on? A video just kept popping in my head when I was with a client. Yeah. I was just like, I got to show you this video. I'm sorry. And it was a simple message of notice your focus.
Yeah.
Notice what you're focusing on.
Yes.
Because like that's intentional too. It's like, when you realize that, oh, I'm only focusing on my trauma, I'm only focusing, like, for example, oh, I'm sick, I can't do anything. Affirm healing.
Yes.
Notice what you're focusing on.
Yes.
Focus on the healing aspect that you need, not what you are in this moment.
Yeah. And I find that in those moments, even of like sickness and dis-ease, I realize that that's an opportunity for me to heal a part of myself. And I know that part of me that I need to heal is what I can now do for the overall collective, what I can help with the overall collective, like what you were speaking about nudity earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me heal this side of me. And even when I was going into the nudity experience that I had, I meant to mention it was a lot about shame. It was a lot about shame and guilt of my expression and my sensuality and what that even looked like and meant to me, and how I realized that it changed from me being younger to getting older, because I realized that I would wear tight pants when I was younger. Then I would be told I don't have a butt or whatever, I start wearing baggy pants. And I didn't even realize how it started to manifest into the choices that I would make
and start creating a new person.
Literally. Even a point where I told you, like, you know, I lost weight and stuff, and I ain't have the breasts that I used to have, and I'm like, all right, I gotta wear my bra and make sure I don't wear no bras no more. And I'm like, I don't even care if my breasts look big or not. You know, it's like, this is what it is.
I'm not worried about the perception of me anymore.
Legit.
I'm worried about my perception of me. How do am I liking the person that I'm choosing to be?
Yes. and that part, and even like my journey when it comes to like having locks, and then wanting to have my locks for so many years and grow them down my back and all that, and then spirit being like, shave your head, cut your head. You need to release that energy. You need to,
I remember that.
Like, release the vanity, all of that. Cut my hair. When I tell you, I felt the most beautiful ever. And
because that's how I met you.
Yeah,
that's how I met you. I met you with a little
shaved,
cut.
like a literally new cut, like fresh cut, like fresh cut. Like that was just a new. And then I remember being in that space and being like, and I remember even though I had a partner at that time, or like a new partner really at that time, that really received me for everything that I was. I remember even before that being like, you know what, if you cannot accept me as this, then you don't deserve to be with me. I remember literally, like, I remember there was a point where I would wear wigs, right? Like, literally, I would go outside one day, have my afro. The next day, I put on a wig, because that's just what was my vibe. I'm like, I'll wear a wig, I wore an afro. Like, this is me. Like, for some years now, I've been definitely working on my self-love, so I'm comfortable doing either.
Whatever.
Right? You know, but there was a point where I would realize, though, still, the outer perception. Like, literally, I walk down my block in the hood, my afro out, the guys ain't looking at me. Go down the same block next day with my wig.
Bust down.
Hey, yo, ma.
Yo, ma with the 18.
Yeah, like, you know, mine was 22. But
hey.
But I would go down the block and I would realize the different energies that I would be receiving and be like, and then it started, like, I was so confident in myself by that time that I was just like, wow, look at you. Like, it made me not even be like, oh, wow, am I just not beautiful enough? It just was like, wow, look at their perception. It's like, that's not the type of guy I would want to be with.
Look at what they're only acting on. Look at
the same person acting on something different, and I'm just like, nah, like, you don't even deserve me. If you can't see me with my shaved head and no makeup or even dressed up, there was a point where, like, and it's funny because I'm just getting back into this, like, even me putting back braids in my hair and that whole expression, when I went to Africa and just that whole journey, me cutting my hair, and like I just had this feeling of not wanting to put braids in my hair or like anything outer, like, because I'm like, I just wanted to tap into my own self-beauty, my own self-love and stuff.
What you perceive as authentically
authentically me. And then even getting rid of most of my clothes and stuff. Then I had to really talk to myself, and I was like, Deja, but were you dressing up to try to appear this way to people? I'm like, nah, actually, I just like art. I really like to get dressed. Like, I don't ever really dress for nobody. I'm like, I dress for me because it makes me feel good. And I love fashion because it's art, and I love fashion because it's communication. I can have a conversation with somebody through something I am wearing without speaking. And I love that. Like, you can brighten somebody's day, especially how I be wearing all of these colors. Like, I've literally had people come up to me and like, oh my God, this is so fun. This is so, like, you know, like,
I love that you wore this.
Like, you know, and it just being inspirational to other people. Then even when it came to my hair, it was this whole battle of like, oh, well, what does spiritual look like? Spiritual has to look like that you got locks, that you got your fro, and I'm like, I'm spiritual regardless. Who said that I can't wear this hair? Because it be all of these teachers now, all of these people, right? Fake energy I didn't need. All these energies like, oh, because if a woman wears weave in her hair and she don't love herself, and if they wear braids, she ain't da-da-da. And I'm like, actually, and then I start to really even look at my journey over the years, and I was like, dang, for like years now I've been practicing being free when it comes to like wearing my afro, and then I'll put on a wig, then I'll wear my afro, then I will go back and forth. And I remember that even was a whole journey in itself, to even wear my afro out where it's not even blow dried, because before I used to just want to blow dry my afro so I can have like big, and I'm like, yeah, I got the Black Panther afro. But then even being comfortable with the afro, that shrinkage from it just being wet and being like, nah, I'm still beautiful this way. My afro don't gotta be all out, like, it don't have to be long hair for me to be beautiful. Because that was a thing growing up. It's like, I just wanted long hair, so it wasn't really about my hair being straight to me. I just wanted it straight because I wanted you to see that I had long hair. Like, literally, like, it wasn't even about puffs to me. I was just like, no, I just wanted long. So whether it's in the afro or straight, I just wanted long. Like,
that part. No, it's interesting because that coincides with not necessarily the hair until I got like into my 20s, when I wanted to do something different with my hair and stuff, but it coincides with like childhood trauma and metamorphosis. For me, it was my style. Like, I always was attracted to different style. I didn't necessarily want to be on trend with like the fashion and stuff like that. It's like my brother was very stylish. He has like expensive taste. Like my whole family has like expensive taste, but like I used to like the way he put his stuff together. I'm like, okay, so let me emulate that since he's the cool guy and all of that. He's dressing well in my perception, you know, things like that. Let me model after him. But when I started going into my own, that's when things would get questioned. Not necessarily by him or he's my older brother. He gonna make fun of me, regardless of whatever I'm doing. Yeah. But it was like how I was being seen by the people in the block. Yeah. By my friends, like, why are you wearing that? Like, 'cause I was in skinny jeans in 08, 09. Yeah. You know, and then they started becoming like more acceptable in like 2010, 2011.
Right.
I was just like, I've been on this for a little while, but it's because I knew what I wanted to go towards, right? Yeah. So me, even coming back to New York in 2008, I came from the South. I was very in tune with my style. Like, people loved the way I dressed. I was one of the best dressed in the town. You know, like I'm not, that's no ego. But like one of the best, like me and my friends were known for the style that we had. So I was so comfortable with who I was until I came back to New York, and everybody's like, why are you wearing a vest with a t-shirt and you got on this, like you're supposed to be in Jordans and sagging and Champion hoodies. And I allowed myself to change. I started buying oversized Champion hoodies. I started buying baggy Levi's. Yeah. And I allowed what I was being traumatized by to change me. Yeah. But then I started leaning into, I had a friend named Rachel. She's Jamaican, and she was always known for her loud colors, her super dope hairstyles. So Jamaican. Facts. Different style. Like Rachel turn up. She turned up. Like, her style was crazy. And it wasn't until I came back and we became friends again that she inspired me. Like, the summer after we graduated, it's like, yo, we getting dressed, we putting this on, we going out, we going to the city. Like, come on, like, we hitting the block, we don't care what these people think. Because she lived around the corner from me, so I had to walk the same block, so we would experience the same people. Like, yo, like, what you wearing? It's like, and I felt that I had to explain myself. Yeah. Or be like, oh, I'm wearing this because but now it's just everybody's looking at me. Yes. To style them. Yes. So it's like that, the confidence had to build within myself so I can get in my cocoon to get into my metamorphosis. Yeah. You know, it's like acknowledging trauma is what's important in the healing. Yes. It's not that the trauma happened or you can get past the trauma, but it's acknowledging it. Yeah. It's acknowledging it. Even if you don't understand it, that you're being traumatized in the moment, it's okay to look back on it. Yeah. And I feel like that a lot of people aren't told that. Yeah. Oh no, avoid it. Or we may think that avoiding the trauma is healing. Yeah. No, you got to grow through that. I don't say go through. Grow through it. Yeah, it's so true. And connecting to what you were just saying as well is that what I realized is that yes, there's childhood trauma that we can go into because it's childhood trauma. However, what I realized is that this construct is just traumatizing in itself. Yeah, the human experience. So I realized that every day we're having different types of traumas, no matter what level. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So like what you just said is like acknowledging it, and it's like, okay, how are we gonna grow through this, and also how are we gonna move from like a healed space and not respond in a traumatized way, right? I said respond, not react. Right, respond, because I've experienced a lot, even when it comes to like the fashion thing as well, and growing up in the hood, and it was always like, oh, like I was always known for dressing different. It's true, and some of them would like receive it, like someone would receive it like, oh my god, that's so different, that's so cool, but then others would be like, what you wearing, like, what is that, you know? But it's funny because same thing like what you just said, like I was known around my hood, it's like fashion girl, like, you know, Jamaicans, like fashion girl. So I remember even when I started doing music, they was like, how you doing music? I thought you was just into fashion. And then even trying to put you in a box now. That part, yeah. It's like, oh, you're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be stopping. Like, no, I want to cook. Yeah, I want to run. I rap now. Yeah, that part. Like, yeah.
nah, boss. I've been outside. Like, I've been making raps since 12 years old, rapping till my lip gloss is popping. You just wasn't in the studio with me.
That part. They think because they didn't see you shooting in the gym that you wasn't shooting.
Exactly.
Like, nah, I've been shooting from the 3 line for a minute now.
Facts. You just seen the out, and that's the part. You seen the outer layer. You seen the outer perspective. So you see me in fashion because that's what you seen. So now you're trying to put me even in that box and then be like, I'm not gonna be in no box. First of all my first raps, I kept saying, you ain't gonna put me in no box. Like, that was like one of the biggest things I rapped about, is like not putting me in a box, and also breaking free from just psychological chains.
Yeah, because that's where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's
where they're their own chains, their own trauma, and not allowing themselves to realize that they're projecting their trauma onto somebody else.
Yes, literally. And again, it's about forgiveness. It's about forgiving yourself and forgiving others, because there was a certain point in my life where I was like, I realized that, going back to that, the trauma, I was like, I was trying to forgive everybody else. I was trying to have compassion for everybody else. And then I had that voice say, but what about yourself? What about forgiving yourself? And then I'm like, I forgive myself, but then I start thinking about how I'm hard on myself about certain decisions I made years ago. And I'm like, that's not forgiving yourself if you still hard on yourself, sis.
That ain't healing.
Like, for real. So I had to start being real about it. And I feel like what you said again, acknowledgement, and honestly, y'all, like just that raw honesty with self. And I feel like it's one of the most easiest things said, but not most easiest things implemented and done. Because a lot of time, like even the dream that I shared with you is like you want to like you start to do things when you're talking about truth. It's like, okay, the lies you listening to, you're quiet, you're listening to the lies, but then when it comes to the truth, you distracted. You want to talk, you want to walk out of the room.
Talk about it,
you know, with that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I have to make a specific live about dreams, because I've been having so many different dreams. I'm gonna make a live specifically about dreams, y'all. Facts. That just came to me. After next week, I'm gonna do dreams. Facts. Next week is neuroscience, all right? So get your notebooks and pencils.
Get your notebooks ready. Okay. Open your brains up.
Yeah, we're gonna really do a teaching session next week. But yeah, like definitely this space of healing has just been feeling so amazing. And again, this whole like rebirth energy has felt so amazing. I was speaking on last week about just how many manifestations have just been happening and so fast and so quickly, and how God has been showing me that I'm truly in alignment because of how I even have choices now. That's how I know that's abundance. Choices. Like I made the example last week and I said, don't settle for the water if you wanted a Martinelli's apple juice.
That part.
If you wanted a Martinelli's apple juice, get the apple juice. And I realized there's been certain times where I was moving from a lack mentality, as far as like, oh, I know I just got paid, but I'm not gonna get this thing that I want. Nowadays, I'm like, give me the bubble tea large. I want a large bubble tea. Like that's what I want. And also, what's so interesting about abundance, and even just financial, specifically like freedom and expansion, is that I realize in my life, when I spend money on the things that are going to feed me, mind, body, spirit, it's always like, what? I just ordered a box from Amazon that I'm so happy to go home to. Let me tell y'all, I had 9 items on the list. I had 9 items on the list.
Listen, the southern mystic be coming out of me too. Don't worry, I get it. That's the hoodoo blood.
Facts, it really is. My family on my mom's side is from the South, and like
both sides.
Okay, because like, so my grandfather on my mom's side is actually from New Orleans, and it made me realize when I was there, I was like, oh snap, I got a whole grandfather.
My whole ancestry.
I didn't even know him. I never met him, so I didn't know. And the same thing with my mom's mom. I never met her. They were both passed away before I was born. But the mom's side, she was from South Carolina, and my grandfather was from New Orleans.
Yeah, all that Geechee and hoodoo.
And then my dad's side is Jamaican, so it's like I always had this best of both worlds energy. Like, oh my gosh. So okay, so the 9 items on my list, y'all. Let me tell you. I looked down the 9 items on my list. Guess what? 5 of them were things that I needed. 4 of them were things that I wanted. Okay? And I really wanted all of them, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as the 5 items, it was like a book that I said I was going to repurchase, because The book that I was reading it so much, the pages done turned off, flipped over, and I'm like, I need to study my herbalism. It's actually Back to Eden. If anybody wants a really good book on herbalism and nutrition and all that, it's one of the best, in my opinion, reference books out there. It's like 900 something pages of information. I used to carry it everywhere to where literally the book that came apart.
Fell apart.
So I was like, okay, I need to get that book back again because I need to get back on my studying with that, you know. And then I got a sound healing tool that I'll go, you know what I'm saying, gonna tap into a sound healing tool. And then right now it's missing me, but what I'm saying is that all of them was like things that I needed. And then I got like 4 pairs of harem pants.
Listen, but that goes back into the self-expression that you're in tune with. It's like, listen, I wanted these things. I'm gonna express myself the way I need to.
Yes, and honestly, it was so healing for me, G, because what I was saying too about that whole hair journey and me letting go a lot of my clothes, I started to like almost me working on healing myself was me also stagnating myself in a way because I wasn't allowing myself to really express the way I would because I didn't want to be caught up in materialism. But then when I really thought about it, I'm like, but Deja, you're not into really name brands like that. Like if you ever bought anything that's a name brand, it's because you truly liked it and you love their brand or whatever they do with their brand and just how they express themselves, so you wanted it because of that, not because like, oh, that's the new thing. Like maybe back in high school, because I got influenced by that, because that wasn't ever really me. But it's similar to what you were just saying about the Champions. There was a time in like 9th grade where I started wearing the Victoria's Secret pink and all of these. Oh shoot, my phone is on 5%. I didn't know. Oh, you know what? Oh, you know what? It's 6:30 anyway, so we're gonna continue this off of this. All right, so we gonna end up. Okay. So many blessings.
Many blessings.
Many blessings, y'all. My phone just hit 5% and it said that it is time for us to go. So
at the divine time.
Like legit. So I appreciate everyone who tuned in today and who will tune in later on. I always appreciate anyone who just comes on and just supports me in any type of way. I truly love you, and I trust that whatever is I trust that the conversations that we had on here is going to be received, and who is meant to be received by and for and from, and let's take one deep collective breath. We're just not going to do 3 because we're going to do 2 off camera. So let's just take our deep collective breath. And hold. I love me.
I love me.
And I love you. And I love you.
And I love you.
Thank you so much.
I want to say thank you while we're here on live still. Just thank you for allowing me to be here and sharing this space with me, because this is a divine space. This is a divine space. This is needed.
And I thank you because it's funny, like Spirit just been coming through because I was thinking about you. I was like, I need G on the show. And then it just came up, was like, oh my gosh, we got to meet up to have lunch. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Thursday. He can be on the show. You just said that you wanted him on the show. Like,
it all lined up.
Literally. Yes. So thank you. And thank you, everyone. I love you. I love you too, Mama G.
I love you.
And I hope to see you soon and meet together in person. Okay. Yes. Love you, family. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Blessings.
Okay. Awesome.